What is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today is such an exciting day because I've finally solved the sampler crisis that happened earlier in the week. Thank you so much for all your comments on that video. A lot of you did guess what I picked up, but I'm just really glad to resolve this and get one that's actually working. And as you can see, it's right on the table here, ready to go. I've been playing around with it this morning and I can't find anything wrong with this one. I did almost have a heart attack when I couldn't get the samples to play back once I'd recorded them into the device, but I just cleared all the pads using the built-in feature, which has the option to just clear everything that's been recorded. And then after that, it just seemed to work. So I'm not sure quite what happened there. But yeah, I did almost think I had two duds in a row then, and I was really upset, but got it working, so it's all good now, and I'm feeling good about life again. So without further ado, let's do the reveal. Drum roll, please. And here it is, guys. It's a Roland MS1, and interestingly, having read around about this a little bit, apparently there wouldn't have been an SP series if it wasn't for this device, so it's kind of like I've gone right to the start of the SP range. Now, I know I said I wanted something different, but this just came up. Obviously the local one came up in my town, and then I just had to get this again because the sound of it is absolutely incredible. And I know it's another Roland device, but I think this is a lot different from the SPs. And yeah, hopefully some of the suggestions that you've already mentioned in the comments as well, hopefully at some point I will be able to pick up something completely different that isn't even Roland as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that on the channel. Just before I get into this one, I do have to say this in the videos, guys, if you want to support what I do here and keep me going making these videos and funding things like this, like purchasing these products, please look at all the links in the description below. I sell lo-fi drum packs, I sell t-shirts, you can be a member, you can make donations, there's loads of different ways you can support me, so please check out the links in the description below. I would really appreciate that. So yeah, here we are with the MS1, 1994, this was first release. It's a really small portable sampler, it can run on batteries, and I'm going to go through the whole tech spec first, and then I've sampled in some stuff which I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do a quick little beat at the end as well. It's nothing major, but as soon as I've started sampling in these samples, I just can't help myself but play along some drums to these beats. So tech spec wise, we have a polyphony of 4, which is very low, similar to resampling on the 404SX. 4 voices with that. It says AD conversion and DA conversion is 16-bit, so I do believe that this is a 16-bit sampler, but please correct me if I'm wrong. And one of the great features about this, which is the next bit of information, is that it has 4 different sampling grades: high, standard, long 1 and long 2. High grade is 44.1 kilohertz, standard 32, long is 22.05, and long 2 is 16. And sampling time, now I've reading this from 2 different sources, but I'm just going to go with what it says on the Sweetwater tech spec. 17.8 seconds on high, 24.6 on standard, 35.7 on long 1, and 49.2 on long 2 mono. And the internal memory is a staggering 380 kilobytes. So that is really small. We don't have a lot of time to play with at all there, really. It's very similar to the 202 in that respect. Internal memory wise, we get 2 banks. We get A and B. You can see there it says int and they're labeled. And then I do have a card with this as well, which is really nice. I haven't formatted it, so it isn't detecting it yet. But if you have the card, you get CD and an extra E slot as well. So internally, 2 banks of 8, which is 16, that's 16 samples. The card has 3, so that's 24 samples. And one thing to note about this as well is the functions. Pad mode, which is for sampling, and a sequencer. So this has a built-in sequencer as well, which is just absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try something on that. I haven't looked at that at all yet, and that'll obviously be a separate video as well, but I really can't wait to lay down some beats on that. It only has 1 track and you have to punch in everything live. There's no step sequencer or anything like that, so I'm really excited to try that. You can back up and save stuff to the memory card as well, but again, that'll be in a different video if at all, if I decide to show you that at all. So there is the option to do that as well, which is really nice. The display is a 16-character 1-line LCD, and on this particular device it is very clear, so I'm really happy with that. The power supply is 9 volts, so it's exactly the same as the SP devices, and it's 200 milliamp. I'm not exactly sure what that means because I'm no electrician, but that's exactly the same as the 202. So I am able to use the normal 9 volt cable, and it does have a battery compartment as well. It takes 6 AA batteries. I'm not sure on the battery life, but that's really handy to know that it's fully portable basically. And dimensions wise, it's 218 millimeters across, 156 down. And the depth is 36.5, and probably the best thing about this is it's 650 grams in weight, which is absolutely nothing, to be honest. Compared to the 404 Mark II, just to give you some context, I would say this is about 2.5 to 3 times the weight of this, so this might be a really good record store runner where I can go to record stores, cheekily rob a few samples and come back and make some beats, but we'll see if we ever get to doing that. I definitely will want to get a case for this if that's the case. So that's pretty much everything in terms of the tech spec. If I've missed anything, please feel free to leave a comment below and ask, and I'll try my best to answer for you. So let's go around the physical aspects of this sampler. First of all, I think it looks absolutely amazing. I love the 90s vibe of it. Really, really simple stuff. I love the colour scheme. I just think this looks absolutely fantastic, especially with the cutout for the memory card as well, and the sort of rounded corners. I just think all in all, this is a really good looking device. Along the top, you can see here that we've got the DC in, 9 volts. We've got the power on and off switch. We've got a mic input, which is stereo, and a mic input, which is mono, and that's 3.5mm and then 3.25 inch jacks. We've got exactly the same inputs as on the older SP devices, the phono in and out, both left and right. There's a foot switch option, which is absolutely awesome. You can put in a foot switch and use that to trigger the sampling, which is just amazing. I hope I can kind of pick one of those up, actually. I might look into that. I'd probably just use it on the table, but still, to have that option, really, really cool. And kind of a mad vibe. I've never used a foot switch to trigger the start of a sample, so it would be really interesting to try that. And on this particular device as well, we've got MIDI in and out, so that's super interesting. If you followed this channel for a while, you'll know that I've never really ever touched MIDI. It's just something that I never really have got into, but maybe this is the device where I say, let's have a go at MIDI, because the in and out sounds quite interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, nice to know that we have that. Around the side, like I've already mentioned, is the memory card slot, and the last two things to note are the phone's input, which is 3.5mm, and we've got a volume value wheel over here, which scrolls up and down, so you can choose various things on the LCD screen. So that's a full walk around and the tech spec. So let's get this turned on and I can show you some of the sounds of this. Really quick boot up time. You can see there it's straight in and it goes straight to bank 1 by default, and by default as well, this is the master volume over here. It sets itself to 80. I think that's just a kind of protective thing for your ears, just in case you've got some very loud samples in here. So that always defaults to 80. I'm going to slide that up to 100 with the wheel on the side. And I've mentioned about the sample grades. I will do a dedicated video about the different sample grades. I've been having a problem when I'm sampling different grades, and I don't think it's a problem, it's something to do with the way that this works. And that's when I sample in different grades, it repitches my samples and makes them slower, which is very weird. I need to read through the instruction manuals properly, or if you guys know, leave a comment below and let me know so I can solve that one. But when I just stick to one sample grade and sample in, it's absolutely fine. So for this particular example, what I've done is standard. So as mentioned, there's high, standard, kind of lo-fi 1, lo-fi 2, or long 1, long 2. I've gone for standard and mono, and this is the sound that it gives you. They're the 3 chops that I've done. I'd love to know what you think of the sound of these. I think they sound really, really nice. And as you can hear there, you can play these at the same time, which bodes well if you wanted to do some drums, so then you'll be able to overlap them. So they're the samples that I've got in there. Now, that's standard. Like I say, I'll show you the other sample grades on a different video entirely. The recording process is really, really simple. So you hit record, it asks you to select a pad 1 to 8. If it's already got a sample on it and you press it, it will say delete sample. So that's how you delete your sample. And then you can see it says yes and no here. Obviously, I'm going to exit out of that. And yeah, you hit record. Let's say we go to 5. And it gives you gain. So what you can do is play the sample and you actually get a little chart here which shows you the level. It will actually be like a live display of the volume. So you want to get a good signal strength, obviously, so you can use that as a little visual guide, which is really, really nice. And when you are sampling as well, the memory actually shows up on the LCD screen and counts down, which is both absolutely terrifying and brilliant at the same time. So it's really useful to know how much memory you've got left, but it's also terrifying watching it tick down very quickly. And I don't think I've even mentioned about this yet, but there's two different modes on this. You can see here we've got function and we've got pad mode and sequence. So this has got a sequencer built into it, which is absolutely incredible. You can see the controls for it here. Sequence 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then you've got your controls, which are reset, stop, play and loop. So yeah, I did mention it before, I remember now when I was talking through the tech spec. I'm super excited to try that, but that's the way you change between the two. So you can see here I can go to sequence and it says sequence 1, pad mode, it goes back to bank A and I can sample into it. Now, one of the great things about this is the pitching. So let's get to the pitching, and you do that by going to system over here, and you can go plus 10% or minus 20%. So you can see here it's currently set to 0. If I go up a few, it's incredibly smooth and I really like the sound of it, but obviously we want to go down, don't we? We want to get that warmth. So let's go all the way to minus 20 on this. And let's come out of that and let's see what these samples sound like now. That is what I'm talking about. That is why you buy old gear. Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. I'm just so hyped on the sound of this when you pitch the samples down. And I've roughly got the levels right on these drums, which I've got in my Mark II, and the samples here. So let's have a quick little jam. Wow, absolutely love this. It's given me so much inspiration already. I can imagine a new beat pack and also a new tape coming out off the back of buying this. It sounds absolutely amazing. So once you have samples in here, you can tweak them in other ways as well. You can change the start and end point. So if I go to 1 and then I hit edit sample over here, you can see here I can choose a loop point. I can choose the start point and I can choose the sample volume. I can choose a mute group. And I can choose an endpoint obviously as well. So there's different things you can do there. You can also go into utility, you can choose to delete, truncate a sample, divide. Now this is really cool. So you can divide up samples. So say if you took a long sample, you could take a section from it and put it onto a new pad. So it's kind of like the chopping feature on the Mark II that we've got at the moment. Again, I'll do another video all about that and see how that works, because that'll be super interesting to see. You can save as well here and load. And then you can clear all the samples, which I've been doing a lot. And one reason why I think this might actually take the place of the 202 is because it's so fast at processing samples and deleting samples. Now I don't really want to delete these, but honestly, to delete all those 3 samples on the 202 would take such a long time. On this it takes about 3 or 4 seconds. So I'm really impressed with how quickly this operates, and for that reason it could well be a replacement for the 202. The poor 202 over here might not get a look in now that this device is turned up. There's a few other things in here as well, which I haven't got around to doing yet. Formatting the card is one thing. I haven't got the card working yet, so I will try and format that for another video and see if I can get that working. But yeah, all in all guys, that is a complete tour and a rough sound of the Roland MS1. There will be a lot more stuff about this on the channel, including beats, tutorials, if there's people out there that need them. I'm not really sure, but mainly just information videos, because not sure there's going to be a massive market for tutorials with this, but we'll see. And yeah, it's just going to be featuring a lot on the channel, I think, over the next couple of weeks and months. So thank you all again for your comments on that previous video that I did about this. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm so hyped to get this sorted out and finally have this working Roland MS1. It sounds incredible. I'm just going to be making beats on this for the rest of the day, I think, now. And I hope this has inspired you to pick up some of your gear and make beats as well, guys. I will be back with more content very soon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and smash a like if you like this, and let me know your thoughts on this sampler as well. Take it easy guys, keep making beats. I'll be back very soon. Peace!